Welcome to TFP TV. Trump's inaugural vision, bold policies, cultural shifts, and a tough stance on China. Donald Trump's return to the White House as the 47th president marks an unprecedented moment in U.S. history. In his inaugural address, Trump wasted no time presenting his vision for the country, framing it as a revolution of common sense. While his proposals may resonate with his loyal base, they also risk deepening the nation's divisions. A hardline stance on immigration. Trump's focus on immigration was unsurprising but no less striking. Declaring a national emergency at the southern border, he aims to deploy armed troops and reinstate the controversial "Remain in Mexico" policy. These measures, combined with his plan to end birthright citizenship, signal a hardline approach that is likely to energize his supporters but alienate moderates and immigrant communities. Classifying international criminal gangs as terrorist organizations adds another layer to his immigration strategy, but critics argue it could escalate tensions without addressing root causes. Trump's rhetoric on border security may please those who prioritize enforcement, but it also risks inflaming debates about human rights and American values. A turn away from climate progress. Trump's energy policies represent a sharp departure from the climate-focused agenda of his predecessor. His pledge to lift restrictions on fossil fuels, halt offshore wind leases, and withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord underscores a prioritization of economic growth over environmental stewardship. Supporters hail these moves as a win for energy independence and job creation, but they come at a potential cost to global climate commitments. By reversing electric vehicle mandates, Trump appears to be doubling down on short-term gains while ignoring long-term environmental consequences. The culture war continues. Perhaps the most polarizing elements of Trump's speech were his social policy proposals. Declaring an end to diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in federal agencies, Trump argued for a return to merit-based practices. His administration also plans to recognize only two genders in official policies, affecting military service and sports participation. These measures reflect Trump's ongoing commitment to cultural conservatism, but they also deepen the divide in a country grappling with issues of identity and inclusion. Critics warn that such policies could marginalize already vulnerable communities and further politicize social institutions. A hardline approach to China. Trump took direct aim at China, accusing the country of economic aggression and vowing to implement stricter policies to combat what he called unfair trade practices and intellectual property theft. He pledged to impose additional tariffs on Chinese goods, restrict Chinese investments in key U.S. industries, and accelerate efforts to decouple American supply chains from reliance on China. "We will no longer allow the Chinese Communist Party to exploit our economy and weaken our sovereignty," Trump stated, calling for a renewed push to bring manufacturing back to the U.S. Critics, however, warned that such measures could inflame tensions and lead to retaliatory actions from Beijing. Executive orders as a governing tool. Trump's promise to sign over 100 executive orders on his first day in office underscores his preference for swift, unilateral action. From immigration to energy production, these orders are designed to cement his agenda and undo the work of the previous administration. While this approach satisfies his supporters' demand for decisive leadership, it raises questions about governance through executive fiat. Can lasting change be achieved without bipartisan cooperation and legislative consensus? A risky bet on unity. Trump's speech was a call to action for his supporters, but it offered little to those who disagree with his vision. By framing his policies as a revolution, he seeks to energize his base, but the divisive nature of his proposals risks alienating large segments of the population. As Trump begins his second act, the question remains, can a president who thrives on polarization effectively govern a deeply divided nation? His bold agenda sets the stage for sweeping changes, but it also sets the tone for what could be another turbulent chapter in American history. Whether Trump's return to the White House will be remembered as a turning point or a misstep depends on how his policies are implemented, and how the American people respond. The stakes are high, and the path ahead is anything but clear. Thanks for watching TFP TV.